Hi, I'm Gilly Bond, a clinical specialist pelvic health physiotherapist, and today I'm going to talk about how to manage your vaginal pelvic organ prolapse. Now, if you want to know what a pelvic organ prolapse is, go look at one of my other videos. Today we're going to talk about how to manage it if you've been diagnosed with it. There are four main things that you need to think about that are really about how you manage the pressures in your tummy. The first thing is about avoiding constipation. If you are the type of person that has always been a bit constipated, continuing to have that habit is what's potentially going to cause more pressure down below. It's not a one-off constipation that's going to cause the tissues to stretch significantly unless it's very bad, maybe post-surgery or if you've had lots of medications to help with pain, but a cumulative thing. So making sure that your bowels move easily and regularly is healthy. Now, what's regular? Well, somewhere between 3 times a day and 3 times a week is what we vaguely call as normal. And for you, it may be very different. And obviously, this is a sweeping generalisation, but we want it moving regularly. And that means that you need to eat enough fibre and drink enough fluid that when you move your bowels, it doesn't feel like you have to bear down or strain a lot. Straining will put pressure on those pelvic floor muscles, which won't be able to support up your the laxity in your vaginal walls anymore. So you may start to find that you're more aware of your prolapse. But secondly, continually straining against those walls may cause some stretching in the tissues, which will increase the prolapse. Now, most women cope with prolapses really well. A bit of pelvic floor training, 3 to 5 months, and we know that a hefty percentage, nearly all women from the most recent research data that we have, get better, get a significant change in their symptoms. But if you're straining regularly, that's going to change things. So constipation, avoid it. Secondly, you want to think about that weight. So we know that a BMI of 30 is the point at which it tips whether or not you have significant impact on your pelvic floor or not. If you have a BMI of more than 30, then your pressure down onto the pelvic floor again is going to potentially cause some stretching onto those tissues, and the pelvic floor itself may not be able to cope as optimally as it was beforehand. So you need to be aiming to get your BMI below 30. There are lots of really good BMI converters and kind of gadgets to work out what your BMI is at the moment. I'll put a link to the NHS one down below. So less than 30. The third thing is to avoid continuously having an increase in your pressure from coughing. So people that have got respiratory illnesses like COPD or asthma or anything that's causing them to cough regularly or create a great amount of force in their chest, because every time that you take a breath and then cough, you're creating a very quick downwards motion, creating more pressure into your tummy region, which is going to press on that pelvic floor and potentially cause a bit more of a stretch in those tissues. And if they're at that moment, if they're loaded within your bladder or bowel, if they're full, you may get an increase in the tissue stretch, which will increase your prolapse, and we don't really want that. So if you have got a long-term respiratory illness like asthma or COPD, then maybe talking to your GP about how you can manage it if you are continually coughing. Is there something else that they can give you to help, or other kinds of therapy that you can do to try and reduce that cough? And lastly, it's about not picking heavy stuff up. Every time that we go to lift something, we squeeze our tummy muscles. Even if we're not aware of it, we do, because our tummy is there to support and allow us to move our arms and legs. And the tummy muscles will grab. So if you've got a heavy handbag or some shopping bags and you're continuously picking those up, or a small child or a large dog, then over time you'll find that you're aware more of the prolapse symptoms, but also that those prolapse symptoms might increase. So the best thing to do is to try and get small children to climb onto your knee, sit down. If you're a grandparent, get those children to crawl onto your knee for a cuddle. If you're a parent, you can try that as well. And with dogs, getting someone else to lift them, getting them trained to jump up, getting boxes so they can get up if you're cleaning them. And with shopping bags and handbags try and keep them small. If you really like your handbag, and I know how you feel, girls, I like them too, then just make sure there's not much in them, even if they're beautiful and large. And for shopping bags, take more bags but put less things in them, so you're doing more trips to and from the car. It's better for you, it's exercise, but the less that you carry, the better. Now, if you pick a few things up that are heavy once or twice, it's not going to be hugely detrimental. All of these things, again, are cumulative. So it's about getting into better habits for your day-to-day life, your pelvic health. The one thing that you can try with most of those things, apart from the constipation, so if you're picking up something heavy, if you're having a cough, or if you're overweight, is pelvic floor exercises. We know that if you do your pelvic floor for 3 to 5 months, we have a significant change in symptoms of prolapse, so how much you're aware of them, but also the position at which the prolapses sit. And that is based on a huge wealth of research done by an amazing international team based in Glasgow, but they worked with hospitals all around the world. So we have a huge data set from a large amount of women showing that really getting those pelvic floor exercises done is the way forward. Then when you go to pick something up, that lovely handbag, making sure that you use the knack. So we're going to pull in that back passage as if to stop from breaking wind, or think about our pubic bone and our coccyx bone coming together and our back passage coming up and forward. Nothing will move, it's just a really good way of activating your pelvic floor. Think about doing that before you pick up something heavy, before you pick up the baby, before you pick up the shopping or the washing. And that will help to just support what's in the centre, make you a bit more comfortable, but also support the tissues from maybe not having so much of a stretch. Okay, so that's the 4 things. I hope you remember the 4 things. Constipation, avoid it. Coughing, avoid it. Get yourself to the GP, get your respiratory illness sorted. BMI, make sure your weight is underneath a BMI of 30. And the 4th one was not picking heavy stuff up too much. Okay? Hope this has been really helpful. Any comments, any queries, you can find me at Gilly_Bond on Twitter, or leave a comment below. All the best.